right, this morning I'm sitting down with Pastor John, and we're going to have a little one-on-one chat about staff because we've had some, on the church side things, some staffing changes, mostly in roles we do.
Right.
Not so much in adding a number of people. So
we just want to be clear, and so people, I think we have people that call in. It's like, who do I talk to about this, or who do I go to for that? And we just want to be clear with everybody so that we encourage people to contact us and encourage people to be a part of ministry. So I think the clarity is really helpful, and so I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it.
Awesome. We're going to start with the three pastors, and kind of because their roles shifted a bit.
Yeah,
recently.
we did, and so I think even before I get into that, just God has blessed us with a lot of growth. I mean, we've seen it both on the church side and on the school and education side, ECDC, et cetera. Our staff has more than doubled over the last 3 years, I would say, and Scott, you know that real intimately. And that is a blessing. We've seen more growth in the school and more growth in worship. And what it really requires us to do then is constantly evaluate how do we use the people that God has called to be here and to serve at Messiah. How do we use everybody the most effectively, efficiently, managing those resources, because our greatest asset is our people. And so it really requires us to maybe get people into different lanes of ministry. Their responsibilities might change, and it's not like in the corporate world where we're trying to, we're giving some people bonuses, et cetera.
Right. It's not a promotion demotion thing at all.
Yeah, it's really just trying to make sure we can meet the needs that God has placed before us and grow His kingdom most effectively. So going back to the pastors, so we have recently, I've kind of honed in the roles for myself, for Pastor Dustin, for Pastor Andy, for Pastor David, to most effectively kind of give leadership to different areas of ministry. So for example, Pastor Dustin used to give leadership to a lot of the church ministries, and we've now have him running in a lane where he is kind of the shepherd over all of our educational ministries. So for example, Principal Matt Stieber and Rachel Hines, the director of our ECDC, both report to Pastor Dustin, and he gives leadership, encouragement, direction to those education ministries, which is really his heart and passion, and he's so good at that.
He's got a background in that. He was a teacher. And
absolutely. So it really utilizes his gift sets better in that area. So he's also in charge of life groups and our discipleship pathway. Again, education.
So that's the church side of things, but it's an education piece.
Right. Okay. So that's a shift for him. Pastor Andy now is giving leadership to church ministries. So he has people like Bethany Werner, director of children and family ministry, reports directly to him. He gives leadership to men's ministries, women's ministries, care ministries, outreach.
Youth ministry.
So as we're in our search for our youth director, they'll report directly to Andy, Pastor Andy. So basically he's giving direction over some of those church side ministries, and so those two lanes are pretty clear now, and it's allowing them to run. And so it's I think it's just, I've already started to see how this is impacted in a good way, giving clarity around some of those roles. So
well, and I know too with our principal Matt Stieber, it's given him more room to lean into the school, because with our old org chart or authority chart, he was not only overseeing the school but also the ECDC, and the number of employees under him in that setting was huge.
Absolutely.
It was 50, 60 people, and so by Pastor Dustin stepping in, it's relieved some of his workload, and
allows. I like that. It allows him to do that, and allows again Rachel really leaning into her ECDC staff, and then Pastor Dustin gets to walk alongside of them, encourage them.
Right. And then Pastor David.
And Pastor David, as we installed him last year, I guess it was still, wasn't it? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I know. I can't keep
my timeline.
I believe it was.
But he is doing such an amazing job of visiting our shut-ins, available for hospital calls, working with our human care teams and respite care and seniors ministry and stuff like that. So he has just been going gangbusters with that and just really focusing on that lane of ministry. which then allows me then as a senior pastor to focus on overall leadership of all the ministries of Messiah, working with our lay leadership board, working with our Acts 29 strategic planning team, giving direction to our executive team that just, again, we call it our accountability chart versus an org chart, same difference. But anyway, just looking at how that mission, vision, values cascades down into each area of ministry. So allowing me, hopefully and prayerfully, some time to really focus on preaching, teaching, and again, some of the vision and direction there. So yeah, it's and that may not be the last change. I mean, as we continue to grow, it's
going to constantly shift.
A church is a living organism. It's not a static thing.
Right.
And so as we continue to grow, it requires different changes to help us be more effective in our ministry. So that's kind of at the highest level.
Great. And then I know the three of you full-time pastors, along with Natalie and Eric Borgmeyer, are on the executive team.
Correct.
Which on our authority chart is the next line of authority underneath you.
Right.
Both Matt Stieber and I were on that, but are no longer. And again, it's not a demotion thing.
No, absolutely not.
For Matt, the school is just so big,
Yes.
it was hard for him to have margin for an hour and a half meeting once a week.
Well, it wasn't even just the meetings. The kind of that director of school ministries was, to be able to lean into the day school as the principal and give leadership. It was hopefully, and again in concert, not only with him but with you, to say, here's how we're freeing you up to do the work that God has called you to do, and so yes,
I appreciated that. I loved being on the exec team. I loved to be able to share insight and input, but also with my role now too, I love having time to lean more into that.
Right. And so for your position to come up underneath Natalie, as she's kind of filling a hybrid position of director of engagement, which we called her as our director of worship, but that's kind of molded a little bit because of this engagement position, which then, as you using your expertise in technology and doing what we're doing right now, recording important podcasts and information pieces and stuff. So it allows us to continue to communicate and have the infrastructure at Messiah to carry out. I mean, we're in a technology-driven society. Your dance card is full every day.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've been adding to it and adding to it. And so, that's my role now is really IT and tech support for the staff, and then also for the congregation with the worship tech side of things, and then the video and the podcasting. But I was able to be freed up from the communication side of things, which we now brought somebody in full-time for that.
Right, so absolutely. And real quick on the technology, I don't think a lot of people realize how much it takes to even just on a Sunday morning live stream, tech issues, everything. There's a behind the scenes part that if it doesn't run right, people notice it. But it runs right.
And we're having lots of conversations behind the scenes, making sure. We get mic volumes up. We've got camera angles. We've got lighting.
So in the communications area, bringing Joe Newman on as our communication lead is going to be a great asset to help us continue to connect with internally with our congregation members and externally through different communication methods to make sure that we continue to get the message out that what is the mission, vision, values of Messiah? How do we connect with our community, make a difference for growing God's kingdom? So that's going to be an asset.
And Joe's been here for a while wearing three hats. She was a teacher aide for Rochelle Brummer in PE. She was also working at our school office as a receptionist. And then we brought her on this last year to do school communications for a while. And she has a rich experience level too, doing social media for different businesses in town. And so now, as of June 1st, I believe it is, she will officially move out of all those part-time roles and to be our full-time communication lead. So if you have any event, anything you're trying to communicate out from this point forward, Joe is the one to reach out to and connect with.
And if people forget that, you can contact the church office and they'll direct you, and that kind of thing. So I think that's really important. But and Catherine continues to help as far as in the church office with reception and email with our
Website, with our website.
Website.
Yep,
That's
with
right,
our website. She does
So,
too, because she
yeah.
has been doing that for years and
Yeah,
really
just
has
does a
gotten
great
to,
job.
to be an expert at that. And then both Bethany and I took on some little part-time roles right now as we have the opening in our youth ministry.
Right.
Bethany is running the middle school.
Right.
I'm overseeing the high school, and we're very actively right now
Searching out
searching
that candidate.
for a
Right.
candidate.
Yep, absolutely. So again, I think what we're seeing is a lot of these things, again, a living organism changes, molds, and shapes as needs come up, as ministry grows, and we will continue to see that happen. And this is a picture where we're at right now. It may change in 6 months and a year,
Right.
but we're constantly just praying, God, lead us in the direction that helps us utilize our greatest asset, and that's our people.
Well, and one last, I just remembered, not that we want to overlook anybody, but Sarah Ernstmeyer that came on
Oh, yes, yeah,
part-time.
absolutely.
So Sarah is doing what we noticed on Sunday mornings was just that gap out in the Great Hall, the non-worship stuff, because you pastors are all so focused on worship. I'm focused on the tech side. Natalie's on the music side. But to have somebody in the overlooking the Great Hall, our cafe, and so Sarah's been great with that hospitality.
And I want people to understand one of the things that people say about Messiah. We just did a new member class last night, and one of the things they say is how warm and welcoming it is and how much it feels like a family. Well, that doesn't happen by accident.
Right.
It happens intentionally around hospitality. And we've always been a very hospitable congregation, but now Sarah helps be more intentional about growing that, making it even more so. And so, yes, she's been a great asset.
And assisting Natalie with some of the worship planning and filling in there. But any needs with cafe, with Great Hall area, Sarah is a good point of contact to reach out to. So,
and one detail I forgot too when I was talking about the pastors, like for instance with Pastor Andy, he's been in charge of our development side of ministry, helping us with the campaigns, helping with our foundation. And he's needing to back out of that more and more as he takes on more pastoral responsibilities. So that's another thing that we're still asking God, where are we moving with this? Because it's still a necessity. We've got to work on development. We got to work on generosity. And Messiah is very much into both of those things. But it takes intentionality. And so again, that's another piece that's still molding and shaping as we move forward. So
this video is going to be great, but in a year we'll be reshooting.
We'll be doing it
It'll
again. And praise God for that. Praise God for that.
Absolutely.
So, but no, if there's anybody if you ever have questions about any of these things, contact us. Let us know. We're transparent about all of it. And I want to say that God has brought the most amazing people to do ministry here at Messiah. And so everybody wants to lean into how God has gifted them. We appreciate everybody, but it's hard work. And we get tired like anybody else. And so I would encourage you as members to encourage our staff, but also lean in on us. Call us. That's why we're here. We want to help. We want to serve, and we want to see God's people grow and ultimately God's kingdom grow. So.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for taking time to share.
Thank you. I appreciate
this.
Absolutely.